devices. They say that 5G can even enters through your pores. It can enter through your pores when your pores sweat. And it actually acts like a conductor of the microwaves and can literally burn you up from the inside out. Just like how we saw those trees burning from the inside out.
Yep.
And then also during that time, whatever plasma weapons they have and practice with it over there in California, they can completely incinerate a house, leave no pipes, no bricks, no nothing, and don't damage the surrounding area.
Right.
So, I mean, if they really wanted, if they were really capable of wiping 90% of the population out, this would be the perfect time to do
it. True that. And Purple Pill said 5G is military assault frequencies. Absolutely. I'm sorry, go ahead on, Brother Sean.
Also, we could take this perspective. If you're not pertinent to everyday life, you at home, only the essential jobs are still going in place. Yeah. The minimum amount that it takes to keep the system going. So everybody else, regardless to what your income is, if you sitting at home right now and your job is shut down and you're not working from home, you're not pertinent. You're considered to be a useless eater because right now you're waiting for somebody else to take care of you.
Shit. You know that's going to hit a lot of folks hard, right, Brother Sean?
Yeah, but that's why they grabbing at that 1,200 real quick. All these people hate Trump.
Yeah, now I ain't going to lie to you on that. Yeah, now I ain't going to lie on that. Exactly. Let me bring back in Sis Sandra. All right, sis, peace and love. And we back on YouTube too, y'all, but y'all know how that goes. Shit.
Peace and love.
So hopefully it lasts. Go ahead, on.
Bill Gates is on that court order too. I mean, that court complaint. So he ain't for the good of the people.
But you know what? See, this the thing, y'all. And Brother Sean know this because he's been rocking with me for quite some time. Before Brother Sean joined the panel, behind the scenes, him and I was rocking with each other for fucking years, okay? So we have watched each other evolve, and we have watched this shit evolve. So he will enter and understand what I'm about to say. I said years ago that all of those heads of those big tech companies, I told you all that they were just the face of those companies. Them motherfuckers didn't come up with that stuff. That's all government technology.
Yeah.
That they release out when they're fucking told to release it. Because again, this is about that spiritual time clock, not this fucking physical stuff. So all of the face of those particular folk, they're only the face of it. They did not come up with that technology. So it's no surprise to me that Bill Gates, and matter of fact, wasn't his funk ass, didn't he just step down from Microsoft's board?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Another thing. I'm sorry.
Let me get my point out, though, sis. But what I'm trying to say is they are only the face of those organizations. If you pay attention to the technology that they are releasing, they're fucking telling you what's going on, people. Don't you see that 5G is fifth dimension? That's the fifth dimension that they are creating for themselves. Because they cannot operate in the higher realms. So just the pure fact of even people running around talking about a fifth dimension, we're really going higher than that. The true spiritual folk are going higher than that because these entities can only go to the seventh. Why do you think they keep harping on seventh heaven? Because that's the highest they can go. That's not the highest that you can go. But they need a certain type of energy around even to exist in these lower dimensions. So all of this shit that they're releasing it for a purpose. I done took and told y'all. They're not planning. And when I say they, I'm not talking about the Gates. I'm not talking about the Trump cards. I'm talking about the people that really run shit. I ain't even talking about the banking families, the names that you all know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm not going to say them because I don't feel like restarting these fucking feeds again. Shit. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about those motherfucking names. They don't even run shit. The people that really, or the entities, or the deities that really run shit, they plan thousands of years in advance. Because they are going on the spiritual clock, or the precession of equinox, if you want to call it that. That's what they're going on.
Yeah.
And we're looking at shit in a 100-year increment, 400, that ain't shit. That's what we're talking about. So I'm sorry, go ahead on, sis.
Well, I was thinking, he was talking, Bill Gates, and he said there was 6.8 billion humans on this planet. I said, 6.8 billion. I said, wow. And so they use CO2, and they said with the CO2 and the population control, they can use vaccines to get rid of some of them. But I was thinking in the perspective that is 30 to 40 million of us indigenous people left. That's all it is out of the 112 million that was there. And we're just, even we didn't reproduce all over the place, but we're still only 30 to 40 million of that 6.8 billion.
And that's not even accurate. You have to flip those numbers. That's not even accurate because if you think about it, sis, now that's what the fuck they say. But if you just think about it, well, no, it's not really less of us. That's more? What they say. Yeah, it's really more of us. It's really more of us. You got to reverse that motherfucking shit. It's not more of, it's less of those that are not indigenous than are indigenous.
There's less of those that are not indigenous, right? That's what you just said?
Yes.
So our people rank in the billions as well.
We're the indigenous population.
That's what I mean.
They're also dying off. They're not procreating.
And they're dying off. Absolutely. They can't procreate. That's right. That is correct.
If you remember going back to who was that, Franklin? When he said the majority of the world was tawny.
Yeah, he said that. Sure did.
Well, then I'm saying then the target then the target would be for population control. Whoever the one's highest numbers, the target will be those people for vaccine poisoning.
But here's the thing, though, family. They allegedly been trying to. I hear you, and I'm not trying to dispute. I'm not trying to put it on you what the fuck he said. I don't give a rat's ass what the fuck he say, because what he's saying is to also put in. I'm speaking to the 5%. I'm motherfucking speaking to you. He's putting that shit out there for you to fucking pick it up and keep repeating it to create the goddamn reality. It ain't gonna happen. You know why it ain't gonna happen? Because the bitch has been trying to get rid of the indigenous people for how fucking long?
That's what Trump said too.
I'm gonna only go for the 3,600-year motherfucking cycle.
What's this?
So for 3,600 years, at a minimum, they've been trying to get rid of the indigenous, and the shit ain't worked yet. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
The only way they lightweight came close was by the stroke of a pen, sitting up lying doing paperwork.
That's the only way. That's the only way they can do it.
And for people to think that their numbers show that, you have to realize that every foreigner that comes over here and becomes a citizen, no matter how much melanin they have, are listed as white.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To sit up and pay attention to their numbers, and they've lied about every number that they've created or put together to try and explain anything.
Right.
And, you know, like you were saying, being in the loop. People ignore the obvious. We're caught in a time loop also. We focused on time, and we're eternal beings. Time is a distraction.
Exactly.
It wasn't always days of the week. It wasn't always months.
Exactly.
Those are recent creations.
Yeah, they're God.
How is it that the dates keep repeating themselves, and the only thing that changes the year? But those dates don't fall on the same day. The day change every year.
Mm-hmm.
Certain years is quote-unquote leap year, so it's a whole extra day for a year.
Right.
In the spring, you set time forward. In the fall, you set it back.
Right.
So if you're able to manipulate it, I mean, it doesn't naturally exist. Right. But we're caught up into it. We're worried about how much time we got. Oh, I got to be here at this time. I got to do this by this time. Oh, they told me I'm only supposed to live 35, 40 years because of where I grew up at and because of my diet.
Right.
And that's other. So, you know, I really don't expect to live long, so I'm just going to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this in my body. I'm going to put that in my body. What difference do it make? I'm going to die anyway.
Right.
So you only want to reach your fullest potential because somebody else told you that there was a limit on your potential. Somebody told you that you was born in sin and you're not worthy of nothing until you suffer and suffer and turn the cheek and suffer and suffer. And then, after all of that, I'm going to reward you. You can come worship at my feet for all eternity.
Pretty much.
All eternity at my feet.
Are we lucky?
And you know what that eternity is? To keep repeating that motherfucking loop.
Mm-hmm.
And these
Giving away
7
your
motherfucking
images.
realms. Exactly. And on them 7
Being
motherfucking
fed,
realms. Exactly. Exactly. I don't know how many times Brother Sean and I have to come on here every week and say, they need you far more than you would ever need them. That's why you are supposed to be a spiritual being first. That's why your main concern should be connection to self and connection to the land and the physical. Those should be your main concern. The rest of that motherfucking shit is fucking irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I'm talking to the 5%, not talking to the 95%. I'm talking to the 5% that have spent 20, 30, 40, 50, 10 years, 5 years researching. This shit is not difficult. It's not hard. It is what does your soul consciousness want to do? And I don't care if they put up 5G, motherfucking 45G to the 10th motherfucking goddamn degree. At the end of the day, your soul consciousness has to make a decision on what you want to do. And it's okay. Again, I'm saying, please do not misunderstand me. It is okay. If you want to rock, if you want to experience melanated people, pay very fucking close attention for what I'm about to say. And I got to take a sip of my water because I want y'all to understand this. It is okay. 5%. If you want to experience melanated people being on top and running shit because you didn't forget and your prior reincarnations, that's okay. Do you? Do you? But just know, you're going into the realm of artificial intelligence, as Purple Pill say, transhumanism, that is going to be dealing with transferring your consciousness, your soul essence, into these different avatars. And they're going to set up these artificial realities to even make you believe that you're jumping dimensions. So if you want to do that, rock on out, boo. If you want to do that and experience that, that is your right as an eternal being. If you want to experience melanated people being on top, do you, boo-boo. Because all of that shit is finna happen. I got to be country. It's finna happen. But if you tired of the fuck shit, and, you know, my new little song that I like because I enter and understand the meaning, if you ain't going back and forth with these niggas, then you have to let all of that shit go. You have to be willing to walk away from it all. I had this conversation with a sister of mine. She'll know exactly who I'm talking about. I love her dearly. We've been talking for years about this exact shit that's jumping off. And I said to her, quote, you have to be willing, if they put a fucking deal in front of you, for billions of fucking dollars, you have to be willing to fucking walk away from it when these dimensions open up for you to free yourself. That's where the fuck we 5%. Now, if you want to take the deal, ain't nothing wrong with that. Do you? But just please note, and shout out to Purple Pill, love you, boo-boo, because you right. The 1% of us, we done with it. Because for the 1% of us, this shit is fucking hell. Niggas want to talk about hell? This is hell. To have to beg someone to fucking exist in a realm that you created, that you have the divine right to exist, that everything is provided for you. This is fucking hell to us. And it's a fucking insult that we have to go ask a motherfucker for anything. To do this paperwork, to do that paperwork. This is hell to us. See, we done been there through Atlantis time. I'm finna break this shit down for you motherfucking 5%ers. We done been there in Atlantis with all the goddamn technology and the bells and whistles, and that shit failed. So we're not impressed. Because like I didn't say it last week, and I got to give a shout out to that sister I set, because she was the first one that knocked it out the fucking park. Because you ain't creating nothing new. That's why you can keep regurgitating nothing's new under the sun. You're goddamn motherfucking right, because you ain't creating shit. You're regurgitating the same thing over and 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 over. Oh, I forgot what happened this last 1,000 years. I forgot what happened to 400 years. I'm barely remembering what happened to 100 years. And that's cool if you want to keep doing that cycle. But what we are telling you is you don't have to repeat that cycle. Because exactly, Deep H2O, the portal is open. Now, I can't sit here and tell you how the shit's going to happen. I don't know if we going to lay down and wake up and be somewhere else. I fucking don't know that. I don't know if the sky's going to open. I mean, I keep seeing visions of the motherfucking skies opening and people falling the fuck out. And plasma hitting the planet, that I can tell you that I've seen. But the portals are definitely open. And the choice is yours. And I'm going to say again, because I know the YouTube family didn't hear this, the Blog Talk family heard it. For those of you 5% that have people looking to you for knowledge, if you are misrepresenting the knowledge, whether or not you're doing it purposely, or whether or not you giving quote, quote, knowledge out of pure fucking ego, you will be held accountable for those that you lead astray. So 5%, get on your shit. Go within, be honest with yourself. If you want to rock with the new system, the AI, go fucking do you. But know what you are doing. And by all means, check your motherfucking egos. Because nobody gets a pass. And it's showing. Now, the 95% don't see it. But the 1%, we see you. And you're going to suffer the karmic debt for that. All right, so I'll pause in case Sis or Brother Sean, you want to put something on it.
Yeah. Also in this journey, everybody can expect to see what everybody else sees. You got your own journey. And certain clues and stuff that you have to look for that's specific to and for you. You're not going to see everything that Rhonda sees. You're not going to see everything that I see. You're not going to see everything that says Sandra sees. Nor are we going to see everything that y'all see.
That's right.
That's why we share information. We share our experiences.
Absolutely.
But all of our experiences have brought us to this point and brought us together.
Indeed.
Still do what you have to do.
That's right.
As an individual. Anytime you got groups and you got a quote-unquote leader, the leader get took out and the movement fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have leaders. We lead ourselves.
That's right.
And within a common purpose, one of us being taken out don't stop what has to happen, what's going to happen. Because
right.
Everybody is about their purpose. That's what we have to get to. You have to do your part. We can't do it for you. And you can't do our part for us. But we come together to share these higher frequencies and remind each other that we're not alone.
Absolutely.
I digress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautifully said, Brother Sean. Yes, epic sound. John Levy, Antiquity was 5G, and here we go again. Absolutely. That's a big thing that I got out of John Levy's work. And if you all not hip to another cat, he's out of Australia, autodidactic. He does excellent work as well, and he goes so deep. He even gets into the Moore's ruling and all of that, et cetera, et cetera. But John Levy's work, he's showing you all with this mud flood stuff how these different resets have occurred. He's showing you all that how these different resets. So everybody be, I'm going to roll it up to this, where we are now. So when everybody keep thinking about the reset, they keep thinking about the financial part and thinking about melanated people being on top and thinking about the system flipping back over to the people. And don't get me wrong, 4 years ago, I was right there. Like, yeah, this is some motherfucking bullshit, this, that, and the third, ABC. And thank goodness, I keep going within. And then it hit me. Oh, no, that's some bullshit. That's not what this is about. It is truly about the spiritual side. And yes, thanks, Sis Hope. Campbell. Campbell is the name of the guy from the Autodidactic channel. He has some excellent work, family. He really, really has some excellent work. I highly recommend him, and I have to give a shout out to him. He is the only one, him and another Caucasian gentleman, and I'll have to dig up his name, that I have ever seen give the credit of melanated people ruling over in Europe. So yeah, I would highly recommend Autodidactic's channel. So yeah, family. So let me get through Bill Gates, my fucking stinking sorry ass. This article real quick. Him talking about some throwing up shit to reset the sun. So it was saying that there are fears that it could trigger a disastrous series of chain reactions, creating climate havoc in the forms of serious droughts and hurricanes, and bring death to millions of people around the world. One of the Harvard team's directors, Lizzie Burns, admit our idea is terrifying, but so is climate change, okay? So we keep telling you all that climate change is the code word for these new systems coming in. So that Nibiru system, bringing the extra suns in place, all of that ultraviolet radiation hitting the planet, okay, it's coming through the atmosphere, or as Brother Sean said, it's already in the atmosphere, bringing down that extra UV radiation is for the purpose of upgrading your light body. Again, it is for the purpose of upgrading your light body. You indigenous ones of the planet. So those that are not indigenous of the planet, all right? Now, I'm not even talking Europeans, that meaning Caucasian people. I'm literally talking indigenous to the planet, trying to block these things out because it is doing the opposite. It is killing those that are not indigenous to the planet, okay? So that's why they're using the code word climate change, all right? So an advisory panel of independent experts is to assess all the possible risks associated with it. They're saying, so where did the idea of such a mind-boggling scheme come from? The inspiration was in part spawned by a natural disaster. When the volcano Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines exploded in 1991, it killed more than 700 people and left more than 200,000 homeless. But it also gave scientists a chance to monitor the consequences of a vast chemical cloud in the stratosphere. The volcano disordered 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide high above the planet, where it formed droplets of sulfuric acid that floated around the globe for more than a year. These droplets acted like tiny mirrors to reflect sunlight. As a result, global temperatures were reduced by 0.5 C for around a year and a half. This gave the idea of a dream fix of global warming and has been the subject of at least 100 academic papers. But creating what amounts to a gigantic sunshade for Earth may come at a high price, posing even greater risk than climate change itself. Our fear is that spreading dust into the stratosphere may damage the ozone layer that protects us from hazardous ultraviolet radiation. Now, I told y'all, I can't make this shit up, which can damage human DNA and cause cancers. I just told y'all what it was about. So in their defense, in this motherfucking article, they telling you, but what you 5% are supposed to know from reading this, that's the damage to some and an upgrade to others. All right? Climologists are also concerned that such tinkering could unintentionally disrupt the circulation of ocean currents that regulate our weather. This itself could unleash a global outbreak of extreme climatic events that might devastate farmlands, wipe out entire species, and foster disease epidemics. Okay, so is that what they're doing is going to cause that? Or is that the natural cycle of Mama Earth cleaning shit the fuck up?
It's the natural cycle. I mean, we've always attributed more power to them than they've ever had.
Absolutely. Because if they had the power, they wouldn't have to be worried about no motherfucking climate change, right?
Exactly.
If they had the technology, they shouldn't have to be worried about it, right? They should have been able to correct it a while ago, right?
Right. But what they're talking about is the fact that their attempt at terraforming, changing Mama, reforming Mama, has failed. That's what they're admitting.
Right.
It failed.
It failed. It failed because I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
The change that they were trying to make was to benefit them, so that they would continue to be comfortable here.
Absolutely.
But now they can't find no comfort nowhere, and all they little paradise is. Everything is being tore up, and I mean, like how you was just saying, how the death of animals and whatnot bring about new diseases. During all these floods and everything, nobody ever really talks about all the animals that are killed. And then as they go further into the rainforest and cut down trees and whatnot, and are exposed to life that we haven't seen since centuries ago.
Right.
And you know how they are. If they could kill it, they're going to eat it. So they eating all type of shit they ain't supposed to be eating, being exposed to shit. And then come back around everybody else. Or actually watch the motherfuckers that they with out there die from it. Then figure out how to patent it. Still don't understand how people want this system to continue going on. Because, I mean, if you go back to the 1918 thing with the Spanish flu, or any time that we've had any type of epidemic, the fact that you can go find a patent on these diseases, the times that they strike, knowing that they're attacks on everybody.
Right.
But you still want this type of system to exist because they then turn around and pretend that they're going to help you feel better. And these are the times they get people to come into the hospital they ordinarily couldn't get in. They get your blood, your DNA, this, that, or the other. That gives them opportunities to make weapons that are tuned specifically to your DNA.
Uh-huh.
They wasn't able to break you down with nothing before, but now they got your blood. They can sit up and experiment with it and find the perfect thing to do to you, what they want to do.
Right.
And you voluntarily take the stuff. You keep going back to them. We give you refills and this, that, and the other. Then next thing you know, something else wrong with you. Then he got a prescription for that. And then he got a prescription for what he know that that's going to do to you. And after you get to that stage, he got another prescription waiting on.
Right.
Because they didn't figure you out. You gave them your DNA, and they figured out a way to be able to block your DNA codes.
Right.
Because you gave it to them at an updated stage. True, people will say they took it as a baby, but what you know now, you didn't know it's a baby.
Right. And your DNA code is changing.
Exactly.
It changed, and it is changing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Exactly, because the sun is our healing. it's the UVs are healing, and it's getting rid of the DNA markers that we've had and turning on other DNAs, like that junk DNA they call it. So
right, junk to who? Exactly.
Huh?
Epic Soul, I said junk to who? Because it definitely ain't junk. But Epic Soul goes, people say they want the system to fall, but they're afraid of going back to Mother Earth. Absolutely. Like I keep saying, the land is the last thing on folk mind. Nature is the last thing on folk mind. And that's okay. That's okay. Because in their defense, they setting up that artificial realm for you. In their motherfucking defense, they giving you what you want. Because you don't want the land. You don't want to live in harmony with nature. Deep H2O goes, you hit on something with the let me upgrade you. I referred back to Beyonce when she made Let Me Upgrade You. Well, see, I don't listen to Beyonce, Sweetie Pie, so I have the slightest idea what the fuck that song is is speaking on. So you will have to break it down in the chat for me, and I have no problem reading it, but I don't even know that song to relate what we're talking about to that song. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
No, I was laughing because she rose with them too, as far as I know of. So any song that she got, they probably gave it to her to sing it.
Oh, yeah, of course. All of those entertainers, it's absolutely the same because they are given those scripts in their contracts, which are tied to spiritual soul contracts. They're given what role they are to play. And part of that role is whatever songs they write for them to sing has spiritual connotation, meanings, and it also casts spells. I'm sorry, go ahead on, Brother Sean, because I'm trying to scroll back up and find what Deep H2O dropped.
Her and Jay-Z are on a couple of them lists, and they're even on the flight list as far as for Epstein Island.
Child, wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because these folks have signed these spiritual contracts and they have to live up to those contracts.
Mm-hmm.
They have to live up to them physically, but more importantly, on the spiritual realm. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
Yeah, that's why all them celebrities off into that spirit cooking.
Exactly.
I mean, it's more profound than just cooking and eating people. It's called spirit cooking for a reason because they're making sacrifices.
Absolutely.
To a deity outside of them. They're retrapping you into this system to come back again.
Absolutely.
And you go along with it. I mean, they worship
and the 5%. Yeah, but I'm taking out the 95%. I ain't even putting them in because they're going to have to repeat a cycle too. Anyway, rather, because their consciousness have to evolve. So I'm not talking about them. I'm on the motherfucking 5%.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about them too. Because remember how they got to talking about
I know
how
you
was talking about formation and this, that, and other, and then they were saying that she was vague, that she was a Moor, and
no. I know you know, but I just want to make sure anybody else listening know who the fuck we talking about. We talking about the 5%. You supposed to fucking know all of that. You supposed to know spells that are being cast. But Deep H2O goes, Bill Gates went into the technocrat health business. Yeah, he just switched roles. His contract was up with the motherfucking Microsoft stuff, because they gave him the contract to rule over, to really actually usher in the 4D from a technology standpoint. Okay, his contract was up because the 5D shit is where what's his face motherfucking ass is picking up. Tesla, the man that's over the Tesla company, Musk. Okay, so Musk is taking the new contract to take folks into 5D dimension, which is going into the artificial intelligence and all of that. Okay, but again, you 5% folks, you're supposed to know this. You're supposed to know it. So anyway, Deep H2O, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7th heaven, the 7 planets, 7 days of the week, etc. Absolutely, Deep H2O. You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That is the highest these deities can fucking go. Most of the world's population are indigenous. Yep. That's why so few rule. All right, I'm trying to get to what you were saying. All right, I'm trying to find it. H2O, Deep H2O. The big flag. All right, I'm trying to find it. Okay, you are a spiritual being having a human experience, not a human being having a spiritual experience. We're talking to you 5%. You should know this. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, not a human being having a spiritual experience. I pulled that quote out of you, Deep H2O. Okay, sweetie pie. Let me see. What else you saying? The portal is open. Yep. Either walk through or get left behind. It's what they have told you about its judgment day. Absolutely. All right? And we talk about the choosing sides, okay? So you're not going to be able to straddle those higher realms and the 7-dimensional realms. You're not going to be able to straddle them. That's why you have to choose sides. Okay? So thank you for that, Deep H2O. All right. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with this article on them blocking the sun, or trying to block the sun. I'm just once again pointing out to you 5%ers that you should know what time it is. Let me see. What is oneself with Fritz Lang's 1927 Maria and Beyonce's Maria? 99.999% miss it. They never heard of Fritz Lang. She ain't gonna touch that purple pill wisdom. Being is a verb. Black folks fear what they don't know. Being is a verb. It is a state of being, not a being in a state. Thank me later. All right, now purple pill. All right, family. So I'll pause, Brother Shiner, sis, if you want to put something on it before we get back into the material, although it's still all related to the material, but
I'm good, sis.
Okay. All right. So we left off real quick, and I did not, y'all, expect us to finish up the show going over the history of Liberia. And literally, y'all, I'm just pulling this up off of our raw Wikipedia. I'm just using they shit. I ain't adding, you know what I'm saying? I'm just using they shit because they putting it right there for you. And again, you 5%ers, you supposed to be knowing this shit. Because if you look at it with your spiritual eye, you will be able to come to the conclusion of what the game is really about with a reset. All right? Now, just a refresher how we got to this, because out of White Trash, the 400-year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg, I was fucking blown away, y'all. And I stopped reading ahead of the book because I like to be surprised when you all are surprised with me. So when this woman, author, brought up about Andrew Jackson being tawny, I was hearing that for the first time like you all were hearing it. And then when she brought up the fact that the freed blacks got pissed off at Jackson because he reneged on his promise to let them have voting rights, so they went to start up a colony for freedmen and freed slaves in Liberia. I said, God damn it, no, this woman didn't talk about Negroland. You got to be bullshitting me. I was really, really shocked. So we literally just went to Wikipedia and read up on the history of Liberia. And it clearly spells out how those freed blacks from the Americas, and they categorize them as African Americans, and we know through our research and receipts that they were not African Americans. They were melanated Europeans and indigenous melanated Americans, okay? But how they came over, they were funded to create a Republic of Liberia. They came over to Africa, fucking with the indigenous people, kicking them off they shit, and colonizing and pretty much setting up shop and setting up the same system that was set up over in the Americas. And it also talked about how they didn't even fucking really integrate with the indigenous people of Africa in that area. So meaning they didn't really marry them. They didn't practice their religion. They still practice their Christianity, Protestant Christianity at that. Okay? And then in addition to that, the nail in the motherfucking coffin was one of the dudes that was leading up this fucking colony is a Tubman, Tubman. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Because we told y'all that Harriet Tubman was a steward. And she wasn't over here in the Americans freeing slaves like they said. She was over here freeing her own folks. And the receipts for that was in Brother Lee Cummings' book, The 13 Colonies, the Negro Question Part 6, The 13 Black Colonies by Lee Cummings, where he showed you the ship manifest of them Stewarts and Rosses coming from Europe, fleeing Europe over to the Americas. And some of them came up under indentured servant contracts, slavery, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And she was freeing her folk, all right? Because she's of the Stewart-Ross bloodline. So I find it of no coincidence. Now, this is just me. I know how to put 2 and 2 to fuck together and give 4. I know how to use discernment. I know how to use my spiritual eye to put the shit together. All right? To know when I see the name Tubman that it's tied back to that same particular bloodline. Sorry, so go ahead on, sis.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
So, no, you good. You good. I thought I heard you pause like you want to put something on it. So, all right then, family. I'm trying to find out where the fuck I left off at. Okay, so we talked about Firestone being over there, kicking it up, having a motherfucking good time, this, that, and the third. Okay, we talked about the League of Nations. I think we talked about how the United States had a long history of intervening in Liberia's internal affairs, repeatedly sending Navy vessels to help suppress insurrection by indigenous tribes before and after independence. So the indigenous people of the land were not in motherfucking agreement with this Liberia colonization bullshit. They wasn't with it. All right? So then, and we went over this, so I'm not going to go deep into the whole thing, but just a quick recap, and it'll help me to find out exactly where I left off at. Then the United States lost interest in Liberia, and then starting in 1909, the U.S. became heavily involved in the country again. By 1909, Liberia faced serious external threats to its sovereignty from the British over unpaid foreign loans and annexation of its borderlands. Now, the reason I taken the time, yes, Purple Pill said Stewart/Stewart, and he spelled it the two variations, implying the guards, which is also daughters, just saying. And I hear you 100%. I have no issue with you breaking down the etymology of what that really means. So I'm just going to point out again that this is why I keep telling you, and Brother Sean keep telling you, that these resets, and even John Levy and autodidactists, they're even telling you in their own way that this shit keeps getting reset and reset and reset for the same folk or entities to just recolonize. All right? So now here we talking again. It's the same tactics of them using admiralty law and all of that bullshit. So it says in 1912, the U.S. arranged a 40-year international loan of $1.7 million against which Liberia had to agree to 4 Western powers: United States, Britain, France, and Germany, controlling Liberian government revenues until 1926. So again, when we talk about these bankruptcies and resets of these corporations, this what the fuck we talking about. But here's the catch, where folks keep getting lost in the sauce, as people say. This shit is between corporations. It's not about the indigenous people, because they are still hijacking the indigenous people's resources that the indigenous people are responsible for managing and making sure that it is in harmony with Mother Earth. So just be clear, 5%. When you talk about reset, be clear of what the fuck that you're really talking about. It was not set up for the indigenous people. I don't give a fuck what Moore, S'more, Boer, I don't give a fuck what none of them say. It was not set up for the indigenous people. It is corporate agreements. Indigenous people, you are not supposed to be working against contracts and papers. You're supposed to be caretakers of the land. So when they're writing up these contracts, giving out these loans, they're not even giving them out to the indigenous people. They're giving it out from one corporation to another. All right, blood, I'm finna give you this motherfucking loan to get back on your motherfucking feet. Player, you got to pay me out this loan over this X amount of years with this amount of interest and kick back this amount of natural resources. And they're doing it illegally on the indigenous people's fucking land.
Isn't that
Go
what
ahead
Congress is saying to corporate business? Oh, well, we bankrupt you by making you not go to work, but we're going to let you borrow money to get back on track.
Right, you mean with the motherfucking fuck ass $1,200?
No,
is that what you're referring to, sis? Oh, corporate.
I'm talking about the corporate part of it. He done bankrupt all these businesses by this quarantine, but he gonna turn around and give them low interest loans so they can pay to get themselves back on track.
Zero interest, he said. Zero interest. It's zero interest.
Yeah, but see, the problem is it's a loan.
No, he said, but if they keep their employees on, then it's considered a grant, and they don't have to pay it back.
Oh, well, he did more than most.
Yeah, but most of them are got nice that people do unemployment because it's like 10 million then file for unemployment.
Yeah, but you still
but the
got to realize,
pay them unemployment.
Right. And as far as for these companies that may be going out of business, I mean, you still got to look at the fact that's what's going on with the pedophilia and all that, and that executive order that he signed as far as for taking away their money. Some people ain't getting their businesses back, and some people ain't getting loans. Just like it was stipulations involved with that little stimulus money. They got all types of stipulations involved in that. As far as whether or not they got to pay it back. And
I probably owe the government or my mortgage company more than they going to give me, so I don't even pay no attention to that money. It's nothing.
But now some of those businesses, in order to stay afloat, they're going to have to go from private to the public sector.
Mm-hmm.
So you will still have your business, but you don't really have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
And what's going to be hardest hit still little mom and pop operations, barbershops, beauty salons, daycare. And we know who do that a lot.
Yeah.
So
True that.
You're going to lose those jobs. And he plans on bringing all these factory and foundry jobs and this, that, or the other. No telling what type of regulations going to be in place or how long they're going to keep this 26 feet apart thing going. I mean, if you think about it, being on lockdown is isolating everybody. They can do what they want to do out in public. People too scared to come together to do anything about what's going on because everybody think everybody got the heebie-jeebies.
Heebie-jeebies.
Oh.
That's so old school, Brother Sean. Heebie-jeebies.
And we just sit up and do nothing as usual. I mean, after the fact, of course, people will complain and act like they discovered something when they go on the internet or whatever.
Right.
Put up the information about what happened. And we had already been saying it.
Right.
And it's the whole cycle repeating itself all
over again. Absolutely.
With each president, whether it's Republican or Democrat, there's some type of natural disaster or disease. There's always something within the corporation, no matter who's in office.
Yep, always the fuckery.
And it's always being done at the expense of the indigenous people.
Yep. Always.
Because the indentured servants that they brought over wound up getting over too. The fact that they was here, they got over. And those that escaped, those that fled them, learned from the indigenous people how to survive and what to do, and then they set up and betrayed them. And they set up to betray the corporation.
Yep.
And it's a constant power struggle for who continues to keep our shit.
Exactly.
Just because they turn around and try and include you in it. I mean, when they include you in it, they don't acknowledge you as the original beings. They don't acknowledge you as the caretakers of it, even though in ADRIP, which none of the 5% seem to talk about when they're talking about paperwork, in ADRIP, they admit that we are better at taking care of the land. That's what we should be doing. But that's a document nobody seems to want to look at. And that's a document within our time.
Yep.
Those other documents that other people signed is long dead and gone. Those treaties and contracts died with them. That's why they keep getting you to submit the paperwork. And each new generation, you sign on to new bullshit.
Right.
Well, it's not.
Right.
And they throw those things up in your face to keep you focused on the past, trying to relive some bullshit while they constantly changing the game up on you. By the time you figure out what they done did, they done 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other things. And by the time you catch up to that, you already know they've already done plenty of other things. They work on levels.
Exactly. And now I'm going to be even real with y'all. What I feel is going on with the job shutdown, the quarantine, this, that, and the third, with the, as far as from the people going out of business or whatever. Because their economy, they're totally switching up the game. So all of those services jobs, Brother Shannon already told you. When he said, and I'm going to have to paraphrase what he said, if you sitting at the crib and you ain't able to work from home, that's already telling you what your position is in their economy. So hence, I've told y'all about the universal income. Because, again, 5%, I'm talking to the 5%, they're issuing in AI.
How they doing with that? Universal income with that $1,200 too.
Well, because I thought the motherfucking $1,200, they was finna do that every month. But so far, they ain't finna do it. I said, you got to be kidding me. They finna cut people a check one time for $1,200. I thought that they was going to do the little $1,200 monthly. And I'm like, oh, that's the universal income, rather. Right there.
Maybe just
I think that's the start of it. Yeah, because in the bill originally, and Brother Sean can back me with this, didn't the Democrats have in there to do the motherfucking digital dollar?
Yep. Exactly. That was going to be the way everybody received their payment.
That's the way people was going to receive their payment, and it got stripped out. Because soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, yeah, they setting this shit up for universal income. Because the universal income, and again, in they motherfucking defense, they ain't had a motherfucking thing. They told y'all years ago, I brought it up on this show last year a couple of times, that the presidential candidate, the Asian man, who wound up dropping out the motherfucking race, he was the proponent of it. Trump card met with him to talk about the motherfucking universal income recently. The Bronson man, the U.S. Virgin Records and Airline man was talking about it. Elon Musk was talking about universal income, and you know the reason why they said it? They again in their motherfucking defense, they did not hide it. They said AI and robotics will wipe out millions of jobs, not motherfucking thousands. Let me repeat. This is what they said. In their fucking defense, they gave you disclosure. AI and robotics will wipe out millions of jobs. So there will need to be a basic universal income. That is why I'm telling you 5% people what is going on. They're issuing in the next phase of which this reset that we are currently, quote, quote, going through. It's the AI phase. So they have in their defense, they are disclosing it. But just because people don't want to believe what the fuck they telling you, that ain't they motherfucking fault. Especially the 5%.
I bet there's a reset. Nobody expected to be unemployed or sitting at home watching television because they can't go to work, huh? This is a nasty surprise to that reset, isn't it?
Well, the thing of it is, though, sis, just because they disclose it to you, they also put out other propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not their fucking fault. If you kept sitting by the motherfucking internet for years and years, and Brother Sean know where I'm going with this, for years and years and years. Oh, they resetting for years. Oh, they got the 800 numbers for years. Sign up with my nation for years.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I remember when they did that. Even Sister Lioness was on there talking about it.
They're still doing it.
They still doing it. They still doing it. People, Brother Sean can back me up. And I'm talking about intelligent people that I respect, but they will cuss you plumb the fuck out, baby. If you tell them, yeah, they will cuss you plumb the motherfucking out. If you tell them that reset ain't what you think it is, you will get cussed plumb the fuck out.
I never believed in this reset. And I'm like, yeah, okay, look at this reset. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, my thing is, okay, you got me once, because it all made sense. We all knew that some sort of reset was supposed to happen. I'm going to rock with you on that. But when I saw the shit for what it is, I saw, no, boo. My mama didn't raise no food, and she sure didn't raise no goddamn food. You're not going to keep sitting up here telling me some shit's going to happen. Get the fuck out of my face. I personally let that shit go. I'm like, yeah, I know a reset is going to go down, but it's not going to go down the way they want it to go down.
Probably
we are literally, I'm sorry. Huh?
They're probably taking credit for Trump right about now.
They are taking credit. Like I said, you will get cussed plumb the fuck out, baby. What the fuck you talking about? Trump is resetting it. Yeah, boo, but he ain't resetting it for your bitch ass. He not resetting it for your bitch ass.
No. Too many people dying to enjoy this one.
And it don't matter if nobody died. It still ain't being reset for your ass. And, you know, I have to wind up saying, okay, well, we finna see. One of us finna be right and one of us finna be wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, yeah, we ain't got to argue about this shit, boo. One of us finna be right and one of us finna be wrong. But still, the 5%, they ain't looking at the spiritual side. Because they're ushering in transhumanism and AI. That's the reset. And that's cool if you want to rock with that. Some people want to experience that. Look how excited a lot of people was getting over the sex robots. I'm like, really? You motherfuckers are weird. But yeah, people were excited as hell over the little sex robots, this, that, and the third. But it shouldn't surprise me if a lot of grown-ass men sit around with the AI technology playing video games, jerking off and shit. Because wasn't Altered Carbon, Brother Sean, wasn't that Altered Carbon in the first season when him and his best friend was meeting up in the motherfucking video game, having sex?
Yeah.
Well, one was playing the woman and one was playing the man. Am I misquoting that, or wasn't that Altered Carbon?
I think that was Black Mirror, wasn't it?
Okay, Black Mirror, my fucking fault. Same thing. So they're showing you. They're showing you what's going on. Deep H2O says, I have been telling folks this for years and just get shit on like I'm crazy. I taught transhumanism over 10 years ago. I'm still working on it, but damn. Yeah, because you saw into the future. And if somebody want to real quick for me and drop it in my fucking chat room, when did Steven Spielberg's motherfucking stinking ass come out with AI? Didn't he come out with a movie called AI?
Yeah, that was in the 70s.
I thought it was earlier than that. Oh, it was one in the 70s? See, I didn't even know it was one in the 70s. I'm talking about the movie that came out. What?
It's terrible.
Yeah, because I think Brother 832 had brought it up when that it was a house. It was a robot, and they kept the woman hostage. Wouldn't let her go, made love to her, everything.
See, I didn't see the one from the 70s. I'm talking about the movie one where Jude Law was the motherfucking robot, because basically they was where they made the robots the motherfucking slaves, basically. So you mean to tell me they've been disclosing this shit since the motherfucking 70s?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Star Trek.
Yeah, now that I feel.
And
Exactly.
You can take it back to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, you know that's my shit. Twilight Zone, my shit. Yeah.
Remember when that one episode where they can go get new bodies and everything? In that little small town, you go to that one little shop and you able to purchase another body.
Yeah, you get to pick out your shit. Yeah. You old as fuck. You done ran that avatar down. Yep, yep. Go pick out the height, model, size, and all that shit you want to be. I'm telling y'all, Twilight Zone is the truth. The original motherfucking, matter of fact, I say everybody copied off the Twilight Zone. How the fuck about that? Because the Twilight Zone had it all, baby. The Twilight Zone talked about the two suns. The Twilight Zone talked about the solar minimum. The Twilight Zone talked about that UV radiation, frying people to fuck up. The Twilight Zone is the fucking truth.
Talked about
for real.
coming to bring a cure and help mankind, and they attacked them.
Sure did. And tricked people to get on that motherfucking ship. Yep. And then they ate them as food. Shit, the Twilight Zone, the motherfucking truth.
Oh, and remember also the one where the people, the man and the woman was in the little town, and it just kept going round and round. They eventually found out that they, at the end, it was a little girl's aquarium.
Yep. The Twilight Zone is the shit. Because Chucky came from the Twilight Zone. Because Talking Tina... Y'all, that's one of my favorite ones. Because Telly Savalas, who's Kojak, so you millennials, baby, y'all not going to know what we talking about, but your mom and them know what we talking about. Telly Savalas, who was Kojak, kept fucking with Talking Tina, this motherfucking doll. And she kept telling him, I'm going to fuck you up. Go ahead with it now. He tried to throw Talking Tina away, y'all. Tried to burn her. She blew out the motherfucking match. He had threw her in the garbage can, put a rock on her. And by the time he walked back in the motherfucking crib, she was sitting on the kitchen table, and she pretty much told that motherfucker, my name is Talking Tina, and I'm going to kill you. She lit his motherfucking ass out, y'all. So that was Chucky right there, Talking Tina. Go back and watch Twilight Zone. It's the truth, the original one. It's got everything in there. All you 5%, it's got all of that shit in there. All of this new sci-fi shit came from the Twilight Zone.
Oh, remember the
episodes. I watch it all the time. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
Remember the episode with Lil Anthony? They played Will from Lost in Space, and he wished people
fucking
went
with
to
everybody.
the cornfield.
Yeah, he was a motherfucker. Yep.
You thought bad.
And he had everybody scared.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He had all them adults scared. He was a little motherfucker boy. Yeah. Indeed, family.
So maybe
go ahead,
they're not geniuses after all, but they just had an idea from one of those sci-fis, and they decided to make it life. You know, if you work at something long enough, you'll do it. Like the computer supposedly in the garage with Bill Gates and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, again, these people play roles. They're not creating this stuff. They're giving this stuff. They're given these scripts to write. Literally, they're being handed these scripts. All right? This is the motherfucking synopsis of this script. Go make it happen. I need you to put this, and this in there. All right? So the people that's telling them to make it, they're getting it from ancient text, and the ancient texts are made available by the people who really run things. So the people who really run things tell their puppets when to put certain things out. So that is their form of disclosure. And if you want to get real deep about it, that's why I keep harping on the 5%. because they're speaking to the 5%. They're not even speaking to the 95 because they know the 95 gonna cycle through a couple of more cycles until their consciousness graduates up to the point of the 5%. So they're putting that shit out for the 5% for you to be like, oh yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, Dean Koon's book, excellent bodies of work. So yeah, absolutely. Anything that's out there, especially if you getting it off the internet, and thank you, Brother Sean, for saying that, because goes back to the 5% in their fucking ego. All in their ego. Look what I found on the internet. Plow. Motherfucker, you found it on the internet. That means they wanted you to find it. Shit. And Brother Sean can back me up. We cannot tell you how many people listen to this show. We fucking know they listening to this show. And turn around and do entire shows on what the fuck we talk about.
Yep.
All the time. Don't quote no sources. One person was so bad, they took the entire fucking dialogue word from what the fuck Brother Sean said. I said, really, bruh? You gonna take the man's entire fucking sentences and not even reference who the fuck you getting your work from? That's the ego part I'm speaking of, family, on the 5%. Because if you are putting yourself in those roles to be giving this information, quote your motherfucking sources. Be respectful. Get out of your goddamn ego. Why you gotta act like you found something and invented? You ain't invented nothing. You found what they wanted you to find because you're resonating on a certain frequency. Use it responsibly and keep it the fuck moving. All right. So real quick, y'all, on the Liberia stuff, we went over to World War One. That's when Firestone came in. Firestone with the rubber, and they were cutting down the rubber trees, y'all. So there we go again, fucking with the natural resources. So Firestone can make the tires. But that's what brought Liberia up out of their little financial situation. Then you get to the World War II stuff, and then rubber still remained an important commodity. And then the U.S. set up a port in Liberia. And then wait a minute, they said something about Sierra Leone. And I just want to point out again, for those that do those DNA tests and they come back Liberia, Sierra Leone, along that West African coast, I'm talking about melanated indigenous people. You better second guess that shit. Okay? Because we're telling you with receipts how colonies were set up over there with an entire area that they were called Negroland. All right? So you have to dig through the records to find where your folks really came from. You have to ask your ancestors and dig through the records, the marriage licenses, and that's the thing about the records that these corporations want everybody to have. The flip side, curse side, is that it helped a lot of folk track with receipts who they really are. because they could go back to the census. They can go to the marriage licenses. They can go to the death certificates, especially for folks that people did not carry on the knowledge of where they were from and who they are. So absolutely take advantage of that. Those records that they required everybody to motherfucking have, use that information to get the receipts on who your folk are. All right? There should be ship manifest. If your people are from Africa, it should be a ship manifest with your people on there. Because it show a ship manifest for people coming over from Europe. Okay? Because this is all commerce. It's the law of the sea, commerce at that. So yeah, they gonna keep precise records. All right. So the Cold War. I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Sean.
They said that they had gained their independence over there in Negroland, right? And then at a certain time, the U.S. quit fucking with them, and that they owed Britain money for loans and shit. Yep. So, considering they're the ones that set up the whole colonial structure, and you couldn't do business without them getting their cut, that was them telling them, look, you ain't have my permission to set up shop over here.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't been giving me
You ain't
money.
been kicking back properly, right?
So what I'm going to go ahead and do is give them a few shackles so that they know who their true master is. And they couldn't pay it back.
Yep.
So now they gone. The colony didn't survive.
Right.
None of the people from the colony survived past the generation.
Yep.
That's exactly what we should have did here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they took care of that shit over there. We ain't taking our business here. True enough, they got overthrew. Some of them came here. They came here,
right.
Set up shop, and took their ass back home and took over. Took over to the point where they can be behind the scenes, because they constantly admit that they was going to go to sleep and let these people rule for a while.
Right.
So they behind the scenes, chilling, calling the shots. They playing the game. And we think we supposed to be in it.
Exactly.
Because their original servants have always been the white people.
Yeah, it really has.
Since they've been here, their entire inception has been about that. And just because you got a six-figure salary, got a nice house, couple cars, boat, you still a slave.
Indeed.
Unless you have a certain bloodline and the way that you're talked about in history, your women wasn't even worthy of being touched. And you think you're better than us. How? You're not out of your station. You the one took the boat ride. So, I mean, we where we always been.
True that.
May not be the way we used to be, but we home.
Right.
Basically, we're home anywhere on the planet.
True.
But y'all not home anywhere.
Yep.
So, trying to go in outer space, trying to go underground, trying to go to the bottom of the ocean. There's always something in those. There's always something in those places to remind them that they don't belong there either.
Yeah.
Don't nothing want them around. Whether you're talking about animals, insects, the sun itself.
Right.
I mean,
Indeed.
it just has to be a terrible existence to be on a planet where mostly everything is against you.
Exactly.
Why you still want to? I'm just wondering why they still want to be here. All that they have to do to try and make themselves comfortable, to constantly be at war.
Because I think they forgot where they came from. Just like indigenous people trying to hold on to a corporate construct because they didn't forget.
Makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? So it's the same spell. It's the same exact spell. But, just a reminder, go back and look at Avatar. I done told y'all that was a movie about the past and the future. The indigenous people escorted them the fuck off. They had to go. And indigenous people, do not think, I'm talking to the 5%, do not think that we need the 95%. Do not think that we need the motherfucking 5%. Only takes 1%. And that's already happening. You know how I know it's happening? Because I pay attention to what Mother Earth is fucking telling me. And she already said it's over and done with. So it don't matter about no 5G, no transhumanism, doomanism, because none of that shit fucking applies to me. She already done told me how the story gonna end. And you 5%, if you on your shit, you supposed to know how the story is gonna end. But if you caught up in that corporate construct, that means that you're not ready. You're not ready for the higher realms. And again, I'm just here to tell you that's okay. I'm just trying to put the information out there so you can make a clear decision. I'm trying to put the information out there. So if you have other people following your every word, that you tell it all. And you tell it all out of love and through truth and not through ego. You can't carry both. One thing about the motherfucking biblical people, when they said you can't pour, and I'm probably about to fuck it up, something about pouring some motherfucking old ass wine or new wine into an old vessel, something the fuck like that.
You got it right the second time.
Okay, yeah. Well, whatever the fuck that biblical thing. Yeah. That's what they're talking about. This is for the 5% that look down at the 95%. I'm telling you that you cannot bring that corporate bullshit to the higher realm because it don't exist. So just be clear in your decision. Use discernment of whatever you are pushing to other folk because you will be held accountable. All right. So, just real quick to sum this shit up right quick. Back to this motherfucking Liberia stuff. Brother Sean forced the sister, and it needed to be done. To go and talk about the motherfucking coup. The coup happened. It says Samuel Canyon Doe was a member of the Kron, a small ethnic group. He was a master sergeant in the Liberian army, and he trained with the U.S. Special Forces. All right, so just like Brother Sean said, which makes a lot of sense, brother, what you said, they went over there motherfucking starting shit in Liberia, and they wasn't paying back they motherfucking tithes for you all to go to church. And ain't that some fucked up shit, child, that the pastors, them telling people, I don't give a fuck about none of that, you can't come to church, you better have your motherfucking tithes. I don't give a fuck that you out of work. You better still have your tithes. I'm like, what? And people still falling for that? What?
And don't forget the one that stayed open because he wants to get his.
Yeah. Yeah, but then them same people will turn around and say, oh, the landlords are evil. They want me to pay rent. But wait a minute. Didn't your pastor say that you better have his motherfucking change? And you not getting it too?
Well, his name is Dollar, isn't it?
I was going to say, well, Creflo motherfucking ass set up a cash app and said run him his motherfucking ends. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm straight up done.
And the most then God tells him that? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. It probably does, though.
Right. That's why I said be careful on who you calling out to, Lord and God. And I'm speaking to you 5%. Because you done got into a lot of this doctrine. Allah this. Yah that. I'm calling out you motherfucking 5% that supposedly got it all. More this. But you sit and criticize the 95% that call on Jesus. How the fuck is you any different? Shit. All right. So basically, dude was hooked up with the U.S. and them. And then he tried to do a coup against Tolbert, in which Tolbert and 26 of his supporters were murdered. 10 days later, 13 of Tolbert's cabinet members were executed publicly. Now, remember, y'all, just want to refresh everybody's memory. These folks have taken their regular asses over to Liberia. Let me back up. These folks then took their melanated regular asses over to Liberia, fucking with and taking other melanated people's shit. And everywhere everywhere these same group of people come with that fuck shit, it's nothing but death, destruction, and war. And this the same system, I'm talking to you 5%. This the same system you want to fucking reset? You think this shit finna be any different? When as you've been doing your research for 10, 20, 30 motherfucking years, you should know that the formula don't change. Talking to you 5%. You should see the pattern that the motherfucking shit don't change. They just give it a different name, shift around the players.
But you have to realize that they just try and go back to a more ancient form of the same system.
I totally agree.
They just call on the deities of that time. And still not paying attention to the fact of they were all that. It wouldn't have failed.
It wouldn't have failed in the first fucking place. Exactly.
And it's all under a patriarchal system.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then you also have those that are in the esoteric realm calling on the deities of that, trying to recreate those times with those energies. And it's all of that stuff that's being used against us.
Right.
You know, as far as with the spells, with writing, and everything else is being implemented against us as our own shit.
Exactly.
And there's plenty of them that admit that, but they still like the system being in place because that's how they get PayPal, that's how they get their cash out. You know,
fucking disgusting.
You have to pay. You have to pay them for information they went on the internet and got. And
that they went on the internet.
Or bought a book, and they've given their perspective on somebody else's perspective.
Or
exactly. Yes, go ahead, sis.
Or they are not really us, human or man. They're shit shapers, whatever you want to be. And they have a deity that is commanding them and needing them to do things. So not everybody is of this world that's doing all this junk. At least I don't think. Because we have some invaders.
You know, I would agree with you, sis. And here's the thing for me. I can only speak for me. But again, when you really are into your spirituality, you're serious about your soul consciousness, you don't be fucking around. Because I already knew, okay, if you start this show, if there ain't gonna be no charging nobody for a motherfucking thing. I knew that out the gate.
Yeah, you can't give it
that I could not be charging people for information that's already in your fucking DNA.
It's given to you freely.
I'm not finna pay back that karmatic debt. You got me all the way fucked up, boo.
Yeah.
You got me all the way fucked up. I'm not paying back no karmatic debt. Oh, no fucking cash app, donations, none of that bullshit. I actually spend money to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's the physical debt note fiat. That's not even calculating my time or my energy, which is more expensive than any of this. So that's why I could get on here with pure confidence and talk all the motherfucking shit that I want. Because I'm not doing it out of ego. I'm not doing it out of pride. I'm not doing it out of likes. I'm not doing it out of to grow my channel XYZ amount. It is truly to get the truth out there and for folks to make their own decisions.
No, but what I was saying is if they're going to sign up to another system, they may not even be signing up to a person like them. You understand what I'm saying? These people may be from some other dimension.
True that.
And they're not
I hear you,
human.
sis. Well taken. Well taken. I said that's a very important point.
Yeah, they're not human or man. So, and they're following these creatures into destruction for their own souls, you know? So
right, because they could hijack the consciousness. So basically, they could hijack the consciousness and be kicking it in the new AI realm with your consciousness.
And they're feeding off of you. Because they get a kick out of being recognized.
It's always feeding off of you. Damn, y'all, I'm going to get this movie for you. And to show you that they keep putting this shit in our face. Pay attention if you all have cable. And I don't get to watch everything like not even like I want to. I'm just so busy doing other stuff. But if you're flipping through the channels and you see FX and TNT and all that shit, they're replaying all of these sci-fi movies about Armageddon and the different realms. And it's this one movie I'll have to get for you. But it was about this dude that was on this train that was trying to stop this explosion. And he kept playing the scene over and over and over and over and over again because he could never stop the explosion. So at the end of the motherfucking movie, y'all, dude was in this box and he was, half of his body was missing. He was a military man. And so they had his consciousness hooked up to this AI machine.
Oh, wow.
And was setting this scenario up. So that movie had to come out, y'all, back up in the 90s. So they're putting this shit in your face over and over and over again. They telling y'all what the reset really is. It's the AI transhumanism stuff. So that's what the remix is. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
You could also look at it as this. A lot of people wind up losing their skin suit, being weak doing astral travel. There's plenty of entities up there waiting to get the greatest technology ever created. A pure, indigenous, aboriginal skin suit.
Yep. Skin suit.
If I could get you to want to transfer your consciousness, or I can trap you somewhere and be able to take over your body, and I know how to properly utilize it to have immortality or to do things that I couldn't do, experience things that I couldn't experience.
Right.
being of a lower vibrational frequency.
Absolutely.
But then you sit up and give them the keys and the instruction manual, which is your DNA, and access to everything that is you. I mean, it's like, as far as for the going back to the recognition thing.
Right. Sis, you got a lot of feedback. I think that's you. If you're doing something, mute yourself. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean. Okay, I'm sorry,
Going back
Brother
to the
Sean.
recognition thing. You are supposed to recognize who you are.
That's right.
It's not a matter of them recognizing you. You're supposed to be who and what you are.
That's right.
Period. Has nothing to do with them wanting them to know.
Yep.
They don't have to be acknowledged in that way. There's no reason for that. To be recognized by them, to stand up to them and tell them who you are, this, that, or the other. That's still seeking recognition. Whether you say you signing papers or not trying to seek treaties, the fact that you would take their paperwork to try and tell them who you are, that's still seeking recognition. I don't give a fuck who or what you think I am. If
Right.
I'm being who I am, mama's child, guardian, and caretaker, I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm taking care of business.
Right.
If you don't belong here, that's your ass. It don't matter who or what you think I am. I'm not supposed to sit up and try and explain to you, well, I'm supposed to be taking care of the planet and shit, and you just ain't listening. I want you to know who I am here. Here go a piece of paper. This piece of paper tell you who I am and why you supposed to listen to me.
Right.
Well, if you got all these powers and shit, and you zap a motherfucker back into yesteryear, he figure out who the fuck you are real quick.
Real quick. With a quickness.
On his way out.
I can't argue with you on that, Brother Sean. That is an excellent point. Very, very well said. And it made me think of when it was actually from one of Eddie Murphy's skit when he was like, "Where you going? I'ma be where I'm at. Who are you? I am who I am." Shit. So anyhow, thank you, Epic Souls. The movie that I was talking about with old boy on that train trying to stop that bomb, doing it over and over again, is called Source Code. That's exactly the movie. That is exactly the movie. That is the name of the movie. And shout out to Ruben Simmons and G Major. We had a lot of people jump in, so shout out to you all. All right, y'all. Sister, it's winding down because we've been at this shit for 4.5 hours. So we're going to pick back up next week. Next week we are going to get back into telling you how white folks came on the come up. And then we're going to be concluding out this series. I got some for y'all coming up, something exciting coming up for you all after we end this particular series. So, of course, next week we may have to take more energy and quote time going over these events. And the reason we use up so much of the quote time doing that is because this is serious, you all. I'm not talking about the physical shit. I ain't talking about Rona and the reset and this and the that and who getting arrested. I'm talking about your soul consciousness. I don't give a fuck if you get nothing out this show, nothing out this platform. I don't give a fuck if you ever remember my name. What I do care about is you understanding, taking ownership, and knowing how important your soul consciousness is. That is the sole reason, no point intended, that I even started this platform. Because I don't want any of us who don't want to repeat not even enough motherfucking millisecond of this shit if we don't want to repeat it. And you have that right, and your DNA, physical being, and as an eternal spiritual soul, you have that right. The portals are open. There's no more chains on you. You don't have to wait for a motherfucker to do shit for you. It is your soul consciousness that I want you all to never forget what's more important, because that's what's going to free you. Your soul consciousness. So, with that said, sis, you have any last words for the family? Come off mute, sis.
Okay.
I know I had to mute you, girl. You were killing us with that background noise, but go ahead.
I wasn't doing anything. Probably just my body, or I don't know. I was just walking.
I don't know.
But
anyway,
yeah,
I'm telling you, these mics pick up everything. But go ahead, sis.
Anyway, I hung in there. My phone, I should say my phone's hung in there tonight.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought you was finna drop off at 40 minutes ago. Shit.
Well, I was going to, but I said, I did it twice already. Let me try to see if I can hold on. So anyway, I it's so many things that can be said, and yet we don't have enough time. Nope, we don't have any much of an arena to keep saying in this, and I don't know if it's getting across to people. I hope it is, and for what people are saying back to us is really encouraging, that they're understanding what we're saying, and they can contribute to the platform that you have. And thank you for the platform, by the way. We appreciate you.
It's much welcome, and thank you, sis, for participating. One thing I could say about you, we may not agree, and I have to go into where are the receipts, and you have to say, no, that's not what I'm saying. I was trying to say this, that, and the third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but you come back. You keep coming back, and I respect and honor that, because a lot of people would have been like, fuck her, shit. Who the fuck she thinks she is? Fuck her. So I have to give you your respect on that.
Well, I have a
thank
job.
you.
Thank you for saying that. But I have a job. I have a calling as well, and this platform helps me with that. Otherwise, I'd be talking to myself walking around the house. So, and talk to my friends, and they say, "Okay, I gotta go do this right now." So
right, I hear you.
If people can take it and develop from it, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Indeed.
And
Thanks, sis. I'm sorry. Go ahead on and thank the family. I know that's what you was trying to say.
I said I thank everybody. That's what I said. I did.
Right.
I thank everybody for contributing, and I thank the family for listening to us.
Indeed. Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
Yeah. Wholeness and power, family. I'm glad in search of you. You're not here about messengers. Trying to find out about you and what your purpose and your part in all this is. If that's not what you're searching for, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
You'd be caught up in religion and all this other stuff, looking for material things, looking for this system to continue. If that's what you were looking for, or what your soul was telling you that you needed, there's millions of other platforms for all that bullshit, but you here, and I love you.
Yep. All right. And family, hopefully you know how I feel about you. Love you all very much. I wish you nothing but truth, peace, and love, freedom, and abundance, because that's what's inherently yours by birthright in the physical realm as well as the spiritual realm. And it all happens through your soul consciousness. So, YouTube family, we're going to shut down right now. Love you all much. Thank you so much for coming back, rocking with us for 2.0. Y'all know what it be like. So, peace and love. Love you, YouTube.